What up? What up? How y'all doing? Uh, I want to talk about Bill Cosby a little bit. I'm in a hotel here in Columbia. I'm not. I'm gonna be going back out to another hospital here in Columbia, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be spending the night basically. Uh, I mentioned Bill Cosby today in my first video, and I had no idea Bill Cosby was his case was overturned today. Apparently, I just heard about it. But I mentioned him today, and so I want to. And I said that when you mention Bill Cosby's name, that's a trigger. You know, for a lot of people and for a lot of different reasons, that's a trigger. A lot of women thinks. A lot of women, I guess, is they consider Bill Cosby a pervert, a creep, or whatever. I don't know what happened with Bill Cosby as far as his, back in the day in the '60s and the '70s and the '80s, '90s, I guess. I think it was over 60 some women that came out against him, saying he drugged them, and raped them. And I wasn't there, so I don't know. But what I do know is that Bill Cosby, as a symbol, stood for something bigger than a lot of. Bill Cosby is as a black activist and somebody who actually funded the movement for black people to move forward. Bill Cosby was right there at the front line. Now, I was always a Bill Cosby fan growing up. I mean, a lot of people around me didn't like Bill Cosby. I wasn't a huge fan of the cartoon Fat Albert and the Gang, but it was the only black cartoon on at times, and if it was on, we was watching it. Me and my brothers was watching it. But Bill Cosby as a symbol, uh, if you can imagine a symbol being the equivalent to a pillar holding up some bridge, and the bridge being an idea. Bill Cosby was that pillar holding up that bridge, that idea that a black man or a black family could actually be a doctor and a lawyer. The Cosby Show. That was that symbol. And Bill Cosby was pretty much the head behind that show. Now, on a psychological level and on a subconscious level, when you take away Bill Cosby and you stop showing the reruns of the Cosby Show on TV, and black people can't see these images anymore, what is that going to do? I spoke about uh, the family, and they called Bill Cosby or Heathcliff Huxtable America's dad. They always say Bill Cosby America's dad, but it was actually Heathcliff Huxtable. It wasn't Bill Cosby. It was Dr. Huxtable. Everybody tuned in on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock to see the Cosby Show, starring, or the main character was Heathcliff Huxtable. I mean, you had the Rudies, you had the Theos, Vanessa's, Denise. You had all these different characters, but it always revolved around Dr. Huxtable. And when they said America's dad, they wasn't talking about Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby had already been in I Spy. He'd already done Fat Albert and the Gang. He'd been in so many different movies. The movie with Sidney Poitier. What was it? Saturday Night. I can't remember. I can't think of the name of the movie, but the movie is pretty good. It's actually a great movie. So they were tuning in to see Dr. Heathcliff, and that was all of America. That was the majority of people watching TV in America. It wasn't just black people. So the Cosbys, I meant the Huxtables, they represented the family. The family, Mexican family, the Puerto Rican family, the Asian American family, the Native American family, white, black families tuned in. I remember my family getting around, sitting around the TV, you know, my mom and dad on the couch, me and my brothers on the floor, my little sister sitting between my mom and dad, watching the Cosby Show every Thursday night. My dad was the type of person who, a lot of times he wasn't home, you know. But when the Cosby Show was on Thursday night, 8 o'clock, he was there. And I'm not saying it's some kind of conspiracy, but you got to look at the symbology behind the whole thing, the symbolism of the whole thing. You know, do we have TV shows? When was the last time we had a sitcom where the entire family had to? And the show started in 1985, and I think it ran for 8 seasons strong, I think. But what was the show? Name a show that you can think of. Because Family Matters was a good show with Steve Urkel, but it wasn't that good. Everybody Hates Chris. It was a good show, but it wasn't that good. I wasn't trying to, you know, go out of my way to watch that show. Part of the reason is that, you know, nowadays and after the Cosby Show, the internet started getting a lot heavier in the early 2000s. So you had YouTube 06 when YouTube came out. But besides YouTube, you had cable television. So a lot of people started watching cable, and there's a whole bunch of distractions. But when the Cosby Show first came out, it was a hit from day one. Day one, when you saw Vanessa, when you saw Rudy, when you saw Claire, I remember specific episodes. And this is 30 years later. 30 years later, I can tell you specific episodes. You know, now it's gone. It's completely gone. So how do we rectify that? What do we do about that? This great thing, this great legacy is gone. You know? And this is a question. This is not I'm not claiming to have some kind of answer, or I'm not pointing out any kind of conspiracy. I'm just telling you facts. The show was beyond good. It went above and beyond. Some people say it was too fake. Some people say the show wasn't realistic. But when you're trying to get to a certain place, when you're trying to advance a civilization of people, I won't even say black people, I would say a civilization, because the Cosby Show was showing us how to live as a family. Straight up, the Cosby Show was showing us how to live as a family. When you're trying to advance a whole civilization of people, not just a race, you're going to run into unrealistic things. It's going to be fiction to a certain extent. But from that fiction comes reality, because they say that from a different world, which was a spinoff of the Cosby Show, and to a certain extent unrealistic, because it wasn't at the time. It wasn't that many black people enrolled in HBCUs. But they said after that show came on and ran for a couple years, the attendance, college attendance and enlistment, the rate of black people going to college, it went up. And I'm sure it probably went up from just poor white people too, and other minorities, because it was a show about education advancement, you know, continuing your education. And it was a good show. It was a well-written show. So, and again, I don't have the solution. I'm just pointing a light on something. I mean, that show is gone now. The Cosby Show is gone. It's gone. They tried to show some reruns, and I've seen it. Maybe still showing. They may still show it on some stations, but as far as on, you know, TBS or Maybe not a major network, but one of these smaller networks. It's not. It's not there. It's not. It's not on Netflix because of the whole stigma behind Bill Cosby, the man, and not looking at Heathcliff Huxtable, the character. You see, there's a reason why I'm a writer. First of all, I can't stop writing. It won't ever happen. But I know that from fiction you can bring about real change. Before, and it's just like whenever your mind conceives anything, whenever you can conceive anything. Kwame Brown said this today about kids. You can do it. Like the cell phone, it was an idea first. We saw on Star Trek, the old Star Trek, when they spoke into those handheld, devices. That was the first cell phone. That was back in the 60s. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the solutions. I'm just pointing the light at it. That show, those 8 years. I'm pretty sure it was 8 years. It might have been longer. Those 8 years of pure genius. The show was genius. It's gone. It's gone. But yet we still got The Simpsons. The Simpsons is still coming on today. The cartoon The Simpsons is still running today, if I'm not mistaken. How long is that? 25, 30 years? They still have, it's still running. We got to get our priorities right. And we got to as a society, we got to look at certain things and say, no, we're going to figure this thing out. That show for 8 years it ran, and now it's gone. Now, once you forget about it, it's gone. That bridge is gone. That pillar is gone. Now, looking back at it, you won't even remember it was there. You no longer cross that bridge. And where are the good TV shows? Damon Wayans and Tisha Campbell, they had a decent show. It was a good show. It wasn't a Cosby show. It wasn't a Cosby show. And I say again, just because it was unrealistic at the time, now you see more black lawyers and black doctors than any other time. You don't think the Cosby show had something to do with that? You don't think so? And I'm willing to bet that you have more black lawyers and black doctors married together with children. Which brings me to another show, Married with Children. I think that show, when it was running, it was competing with the Cosby Show or something like that. But that show was the start of, even though it was fun to watch, it was good, but not everything fun to watch and good is good for you. A Snicker bar, a Twix is good, tastes good, but you find yourself eating a Snicker bar and a Twix every day, you're gonna be in a bad predicament within a year or less. You're gonna be a diabetic in no time because it tastes good. That goes with everything. That goes for your music. That goes for your actual food you eat. That goes for the company you hang with, the things you choose to watch on YouTube and Facebook, Twitter. I laugh and joke. I have my fun. But I realize for every action there's a reaction. Everything you do, for every cause there's an effect. If you don't look at the long run, if you don't see what's going to happen down the road, you'll find yourself sitting on the side of the road with nowhere to go. Absolutely. So again, I thought it was weird that today I decided to bring up Bill Cosby. I was saying his name is like a trigger, and sure enough, they announced that he's going to be released from jail. That's you know, for what he did or what he was accused of doing, what was alleged. I guess he was convicted. I didn't really follow the trial or whatever. And for any woman involved, um, you know, I don't have any words because I've never been in that predicament. I can't claim this. I do empathize. Um, I can't imagine what kind of tragedy that would be for the women who was actually drugged and taken advantage of. I can't imagine that. And just because it's Bill Cosby, you're not God. You're not God. That's why I say I don't have any answers. Because I'm sure out of 60 something women, you know, that's one hell of a conspiracy. If all those women are lying, that's one hell of a conspiracy. You know, anybody that can pull one off like that, I don't want to mess with. Anybody who can pull off a conspiracy where you can get 60 some women to come out and confess to the similar things. Who are you dealing with? I mean, what kind of power are you dealing with? Because that's one powerful person or entity or whatever. So I'm not saying that they're lying, and I'm not saying that he's innocent. But what I am saying is the Cosby Show. That's one that we just cannot afford to just be forgotten. That's my whole point. A Different World. Those shows are timeless. Like you have some shows, some TV shows are contemporary. If you go back and look at them 10 years later, it's all outdated. Everything is outdated. The Cosby Show will never be outdated. And that's any good sitcom, doesn't have a date on it. It gets better over time. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. That was a show that was timeless, and that was a good show. That was a really good show. I get you got to knock on wood these days because you never know. You don't know who's I don't want to speak anything into existence. So that was a good show. That was a really good show. Will Smith did his thing on that show. All the actors and actresses did their thing. Every last one of them. I like the dark skinned Aunt Viv. I like the light skinned Aunt Viv. I like the dark skin better because she was just more. She was there first, basically. and she was dark skinned. Let's face it. I mean, why are you gonna replace the dark skinned lady with a light skinned lady? I had nothing against light skinned Aunt Viv. She was cool too. But another good show. I was television. The television raised me basically. I would stay up to till the TV went off. Summertime I was up. I was watching television until it went off. Back in the day, TV went off. At like 12 o'clock or maybe a little bit later than 12 o'clock. All of a sudden, the national anthem would start playing, and the American flag would start. You see the American flag waving, and all of a sudden, every channel was just fuzz. That's analog. It wasn't digital, so everything was fuzz. You could flip through every channel and you couldn't get anything because TV went off. That'll never happen again. That'll never come back. But that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Anyways, I'm just gonna that was just on my mind. I thought it was strange. Another synchronistic thing that these things are just these type of things these days are getting to the point where it's like almost like, man, what is going on, man? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's whatever it is, maybe it'll come out here pretty soon. But shout out to all you guys who are watching still. Miss Nikki Thompson, shout out to you. Miss Kathy Borthwick, shout out to you. You guys are so supportive. It's amazing. It's kind of scary. I don't want to, I don't want to offend you somehow. I really don't. You can offend people so easy these days. I don't want to run you off. um, but yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the books. You know, I'm still writing. I'll be writing on this book tomorrow morning in the hotel before I go to my first hospital. Right now, I'm about to order some food because I'm hungry. All right. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Somebody tell me if you even see a bell. I gotta go on this DoorDash because I'm hungry. Until next time, y'all be blessed.